All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the September Planning Commission meeting. We're going to go ahead and get started. If I can get one of my commissioners to volunteer for opening prayer, I'd appreciate it.
I'll do it.
Thank you, sir.
Father God, thank you for this day. Thank you for this time that we have to come and just try to make a difference, God, in this world we live in right now. And I thank you for the opportunity we have to sit on this planning commission. And God, I just pray that, God, you'd watch over us tonight as we talk through things, help us to use discernment and wisdom as we help make decisions for our city going forward. Help us be wise with our decisions, God. I just pray that you'd bless this night and bless our town as it's still crazy times. But God, we thank you that you're in control. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Commissioner Mowdy. All right, everyone, let's go ahead and do the pledge. Our flag is back here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. All right, Kim, let's go ahead and open the Planning Commission meeting with a roll call.
Bird.
Here.
Mowdy.
Here.
Ward.
Doesn't seem like he's on.
Irvin. Lowe.
Here.
Young.
Here. All right, guys.
Did you get Prater in that one?
Chuck, did you call Chuck? He's here.
I'm here.
All right. Thank you, Chuck. Let's go ahead and get the minutes from last month's Planning Commission meeting approved. You guys should have the packet. If there's any corrections or comments, let's go ahead and get those noted. Otherwise, I'd recommend a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
Motion from Byrd. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Prater. Roll call, please.
Bird.
Yes.
Mowdy.
Yes.
Prater.
Yes.
Lowe.
Yes.
All right, minutes are approved. Let's go ahead and get our, let's do a roll call for our Board of Adjustment meeting.
Bird.
Here.
Mowdy.
Here.
Ward. Prater.
Here.
Irvin. Lowe.
Here.
Young.
Here. All right, let's go ahead and get the Board of Adjustment meeting minutes approved from August as well. Are there any corrections or comments from that meeting? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
A motion from Prater. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Mowdy. Roll call, please.
Bird.
Yes.
Mowdy.
Yes.
Prater.
Yes.
Lowe.
Yes.
All right, minutes are approved. Thank you all. We do a roll call. Let's go ahead and get into our new item of business for the Board of Adjustment. Kim?
62 Cossatot Circle, variance encroachment within 30-foot building line.
All right. Kevin, if you want to give us a staff report, please, sir.
Good evening. This is at 62 Cossatot Circle, Lot 9. The applicants basically are requesting a 29.5-foot front setback because the final plat for this subdivision was actually platted with 30-foot setbacks, and there's a small half-foot encroachment. R1 zoning actually has 25 today. We weren't sure if at the time this was platted, if we actually had 30-foot setbacks, but regardless, it's platted that way, and they just need to pass clean title. So that's why they're seeking the variance.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yes, sir.
My guess is they lined it up with the face of the CMU foundation wall, and the veneer and the airspace is probably what took it over that setback line. Is the applicant or anybody online to speak for this? There's not anybody here to speak against this item, either here in public or online. Do not see anybody, so I would kick it back to the commission if you guys have any questions for Kevin. If not, I entertain a motion to approve the variance.
I make a motion to approve the variance to 29.5.
A motion from Mowdy and a second from Lowe. Roll call, please.
Bird,
She's on mute. She says yes.
Mowdy,
Yes.
Prater,
Yes.
Lowe,
Yes.
All right, that variance is granted. So let's go ahead and shift over into, we'll adjourn the Board of Adjustment meeting and shift into our Planning Commission meeting. And it is 7:07, and we'll open up the public hearing. And first item of business is to close the public hearing. Thank you there. All right, that was easy. All right, new business. Kim.
Lot 2A and 2B Cabot Exchange, final plat, Philip Lewis Engineering.
All right, Kevin, you want to go ahead and kick us off, please?
Let's see my,
Yes, sir. On our agendas, it actually lists it as a final plat. Staff may need to correct me, but I thought during the tech review, it came in as a prelim plat. That might be a typo on the agenda. I just wanted to get that out of the way first. So I don't know if Laura's online, would like to opine.
Laura? It is a final plat.
A final plat. Okay, interesting. All right. Well, this is a final plat. The subject property is roughly just shy of 3 acres. You can see in your staff report its approximate location in relation to Willie Ray Drive, located pretty close to the intersection with Highway 89 or West Main Street. We had seen this in prior months. Last year, there was a split zoning issue with proposed Lot 2B. That has been rectified. So the entirety of this property is all C3 now, and they are just coming in to finalize proposed lots 2A and 2B. In each of those items, we'll see separately as individual site plans. Basically, in your report, there aren't very many outstanding items, at least nothing that can't be rectified by staff at this time. I think the only thing in the report would be maybe to actually label the FEMA special flood hazard zone on lot 2A. It technically does run across there, but there isn't any development going to be occurring in that map floodplain anyhow. And so there are a couple other items in red, but I'll let staff qualify any of those or have the commission answer, ask any questions for us.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. Is the applicant here to speak to this? You would please come up, and there a microphone for him? It's up there. I remember, hold that microphone as close as you can, and then we'll have to clean it off and disinfect it.
I'm Philip Lewis with Philip Lewis Engineering. We prepared the plans for the development on the site.
Can you all hear online?
No.
See if you can talk as loud as you can into that. I mean,
Okay.
yell.
Can you hear me now?
How about now?
yes,
Yeah, talk as loud as you can. Yes.
Okay. Philip Lewis with Philip Lewis. Prepared the replat as well as the site development plans for this acreage.
You want to elaborate on any of the issues at hand here with the replat?
I don't know that we ran into any, from the one comment, that's not a problem, designating the flood hazard zone area on flat. I believe we addressed, all the comments we were aware of that had been presented to us in the review of what we had submitted for this meeting.
Okay. Any commissioners have any questions for Philip?
There were some issues with tying down the easements and things like that. That's been done on the final.
Correct. If it was a comment, yes, we got that addressed to the best of our knowledge and ability, but certainly any additional, not a problem. And the purpose of the split is to divide it into 2 separate parcels for the new car wash facility. I guess that's coming up in a minute. And then full Loop Express, same name, but 2 different ownership groups in a sense that are also aligned. So that's the reason we split it, is to delineate those 2 ownership groups.
Okay. All right. Pretty straightforward. Commissioners, if you don't have any questions, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Mr. Chairman, if I just curious about that special floodplain. Is that because of the lake just to the north? Does anybody know?
A large drainage ditch, for lack of a better word, that is between this property and where the new David Burgers and the lease space development is to the west. So yes, that's what's driving that.
So Philip, would it take a letter of map revision to basically modify that? Because obviously it goes through the middle of David's Burgers and a lot. It hasn't been modified to match the updated contours.
That could be done, but it was, we stayed out of our development.
Okay,
To make certain we weren't going to be
gotcha.
anywhere near it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions from the commissioners?
I'll make a motion to approve the final plat.
Got a motion
I'll
from
I'll
Rowdy,
second that.
second from Prater. Roll call, please.
Bird,
Yes.
Howdy,
Yes.
Prater,
Yes.
Lowe,
Yes.
All right, the final plat is approved for 2A and 2B. Let's go ahead and get into the next item of business here.
Lot 2A, Cabot Exchange, site plan, Philip Lewis Engineering.
So Kevin, let's go ahead with you first.
Okay. So as we just saw with the final plat, there were 2 lots, 2A and 2B. The first site plan is for the lot 2A. This would be for Splash Oil and Lube Center. This parcel is 1.27 acres. It is zoned C3, currently unimproved, and as the project would suggest, they do want to put a quick lube, what they're calling a Splash Oil and Lube Center. Right now, it's looking like approximately 2,230 square foot automotive service garage and associated improvements. In terms of outstanding items, there weren't very many. In fact, there actually was one on note number 6 in your report. After looking on it a little bit further, I don't have any issues with where the striping is for the ADA space. I was looking up ADA guidance, and there are as long as there's room literally for the van, sometimes the stripes are on the left, sometimes the stripes on the right, but you wouldn't want to get too close to that proposed bay for the oil lube anyway. So that's the only qualifier I would have to the comment. So actually note number 6, in my view, is a non-issue.
Okay.
And I'll take any questions.
Yeah, at high level, everything with landscape, green spaces, looks like they meet code.
There was, let's see here. There was one comment. It was comment number 6. Laura and I had looked at this. If you look in the UDC, there is a section that deals with basically how much vertical breaks are needed for facades. And right now, The way the code reads is that you have to have at least one vertical break. The code actually reads 1 foot differential in vertical plane for each 100 feet. But even if it's less than 100 feet or a minimum of once, whichever is more stringent. So the east side of the building is not broken vertically, at least not from what I saw on the elevations, unless the applicant would like to qualify. That was really the only sort of interesting issue from an architectural standpoint that the commission may want to weigh in on.
Kevin, you're talking about the east side, the east elevation.
Correct. So it's the east side of the building, but you're looking in a westward direction. So it would be the side of the building that would face the other building that we'll get into on the next site plan. So the in-between area.
Yeah, I've got it pulled up here on the screen.
So you can see how it's the blocking there. And again, it's how you read the code, and the way it would read right now is it's basically one vertical break for every 100 feet or one time, whichever is more stringent. And that's the way the UDC reads.
So it's not 100 feet on that side for sure.
Right. So it's definitely the shorter facade, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know if the commission wants to treat this differently because it's more of an interior view, because even though it's technically adjacent to a public access and a fire lane, we had dealt with Dollar General and some other site plans where, you know, there was clearly an area that wasn't going to be used by the public in any way or any services, whereas this facade clearly faces an area that is meant for traffic and is meant for public access and other means. So that's sort of how this one differentiates itself from other ones.
Philip, you understand what he's talking about?
Yeah.
Can you address that?
Yeah. Yes.
Hey, Philip.
Hey.
Hey, this is Bradford Gaines with Colliers. We're developers on the project. I don't know if everybody can hear me, but we're working with an architectural group out of Dallas, and we could, you know, if we need to break that up on that east facade, I think that's something we could achieve, you know, with some of the tile that we're using on that western facade. So I would be agreeable to adding a little bit of detail there just to kind of spruce that side up if that would work for the commissioners.
That'd be great. Yeah.
That would be good, yes.
And this would be the east facade, according to the drawings.
Yes, that's right.
So
That's correct.
Did you get that, Bradford?
Yes.
Okay, it's a stepping in or out. So, yeah, the owner's very aesthetically attuned and very likes good aesthetics.
Yeah. That's great. Any other questions from the commissioners?
I have one.
Sure.
There is a common access easement between these two lots. Why did we not use that as a driveway versus giving each lot a driveway, which doesn't really affect this lot as adversely, but the other lot, the driveway is very close to the intersection of the public street there.
That is a good question. Did you, commissioners online, did y'all hear Commissioner Lowe?
I can hear parts of it.
Yeah. Could you repeat that, please?
Yeah. Sure. He was asking why the drive is not centered up on the access easement that is centered between the two properties, where it's basically offset. You see that on the site plan?
Yeah, just further east.
Yeah.
Philip, I believe that was to keep the parking out of the flood zone. Is that correct?
No, it's not that back area. It's the front drive
I'm talking
closest.
about the driveway that's in front of the express loop center.
Yeah, right in. How come this driver here
Why
doesn't,
was it not shifted to the east towards the hospital?
where it centers up on this drive right here?
That common drive between the two, why didn't we just center it up on that instead of having west?
I think that goes back to, we had an additional driveway to the east that would serve the tunnel wash. And we wanted to create traffic separation on that main cross-access drive. So that's why we shifted this driveway over in front of the Lube Center.
Let me skip ahead a little bit too, and see what the other site plan looks like so we can put it in context.
Right.
All right, so Commissioner Lowe, I don't know if you can see this on my screen
I'm
here.
pulling it right
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the other drive coming in for the wash and lube.
Right, and the question I got is, that drive for the next lot we're gonna talk about is very close to the public street there.
To the intersection, yeah.
What is that distance from that driveway to Willie Ray Drive?
I do not have a specific answer on that. I have to get it out and look at the scale.
It's about 50 feet. Yeah,
So maybe 2 cars are stacked, so if you get more than 2 cars there, you can't get out of that driveway.
Well, with the amount of drives we have internally, I would hope that, I mean, we hope there's a lot of business, but I don't know if it's ever going to stack up that deep to create an issue. I see what you're saying.
Well, you're not the only one using that driveway though, because you're also that's a cross access all the way across to the other developments, all the way over to the Ford place, correct?
yeah, the one coming in to the left, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just to, as Bradford said, it's to split up the traffic between the two entities, because maybe a lot of people are going to need the oil change that may not necessarily do the car wash or vice versa. It's just for internal flow to the site between these two. And of course, we spread them as far as we could. Initially, the architect had done an architectural site plan trying to come out on down towards the hospital, but in our initial meeting with the mayor, we're pretty clear we could extend that drive up and tie in, but not bring another drive out. But anyway, that's the answer. So whether that's acceptable or not, that's above my pay grade. So
Oh, Commissioner Lodi and the rest of the commissioners, what about that far end tying straight down to Willie Ray from, not have that drive there coming off that sharp corner, but go straight down to Willie Ray Road? Is that too close to the other? Okay, that's, gotcha. Too close to that entrance and the hospital's entrance. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it's about 250 feet or less, Commissioner Chair, from the hospital entrance to the apron for the driveway, for the main driveway.
Gotcha. Any other questions or comments? That was a good question, Commissioner Lowe. Any other question or comments from anyone else? Actually, go back to I skipped way ahead. If there's not any other questions or comments, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
And let me ask you, Commissioner Mowdy, if you could amend that to incorporate the additional detail on the east elevation.
Oh, yes, I'm adding the vertical.
Yes, sir.
So I'll make a motion to approve contingent on the east side. I guess you'd say, well, I guess vertical. What do you want me to? Whatever you want to add in there, I agree with.
Adding a little detail to that, the east side, so.
Yeah, that's it.
I have a motion to approve with a contingency. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second from Commissioner Lowe. Let's go ahead and do roll call, please.
Bird,
Yes.
Howdy,
Yes.
Prater,
Yes.
Yes.
All right, the site plan is approved. Let's go ahead and go to the next lot. Kim?
Lot 2B, Cabot Exchange, site plan, Philip.
Kevin?
Okay, we've already got a sneak peek at this. This lot 2B is 1.65 acres, also zone C3, unimproved at the moment. They would like to go ahead and put a roughly 3,400 square foot detail building, and then next to that, a roughly 5,300 square foot, give or take, car wash. You can see on the site graphic how it comes off of the common access drive from Willie Ray. And then you can see the internal circulation, how the vehicles would come in. They'd pay at the kiosk where looks like there's 3 lanes for a kiosk, and then they filter into 1 lane, which veers around, goes to the car wash. And then of course, one would then come around and go northbound into an 18-bay staging area for vacuums, and then have a 1-way access out, looks like to the rear of the site at that point. And then it looks like everything would kind of flow through the use in common or the access easement in the middle, and then exit. It looks like you can exit either using the oil loop or the entrance, ingress, egress that they're showing in this particular site plan. So the internal circulation is interesting. And the only thing on the report that I would, everything on the report, I don't have many outstanding items. You can see those in red and yellow. But the one thing I would say is that what was interesting here is when we looked at the parking calculations for a car wash, if you apply some of the things we have in the regs, it comes up to quite a substantial number of parking, whereas there are some other cities that have specific parking regulations for uses like this that bring down the required parking quite a bit. And so if anybody would like to discuss the parking aspects of that, it's fine. But right now, my report basically said that the 18 stalls that they have, is plenty of overflow for the use.
Right, it being primarily vehicular access and service facility, it makes a lot of sense to reduce that. I didn't notice any sidewalks. Laura, are there sidewalk locations that we're not seeing on this, or are they already along the? And we're not asking for any variances or waivers for sidewalks. I did notice them on the site plan.
Now, this is a cross-access agreement. I'm not sure if the city requires sidewalks. This doesn't appear on the master streets plan as sort of being a public road. Is this a public road?
Along Willie Ray Drive.
Well, yes, but they're not actually improving up to the right of Willie Ray. That doesn't appear. It looks like they're actually improving up to that private cross-access agreement drive.
But the frontage of the front boundary line does abut Willie Ray Drive. Right, I mean, the property abuts the public.
Correct.
Laura, you're saying the hospital does not have sidewalks? I'm gonna let staff dig into that one, because that's, we're not, doing any variances on sidewalks, but just didn't see those on the site plan. All right, I guess, Philip, is there any other items you want to add to this one? Any other comments on 2B?
Just its owner owns several other forest sites. So they're very familiar with the internal flow and what works well and doesn't make sense, and obviously it's their advantage that things flow smoothly. So this is many iterations of ownership of other sites and having been in business for years. So it is interesting, but it works. So we think that if we haven't seen it, have to explain it, makes sense. So that's why to the side.
Sure. But it's a good looking development, and a interesting design. Are those are glass storefront and overhead doors, or is that, I guess I'm seeing overhead doors that are the metal roll up, and then just storefront windows, aluminum. All right, commissioners, any other questions or comments?
How about landscaping? Have we talked about landscaping?
I mentioned it on the last one. We do meet landscape requirements. Laura is shaking her head and saying, yes, they need to add some square footage. As far as designating how much landscape area shown, you mean square footage? Yes. Any other questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve, providing they provide a landscape plan for this.
Yeah, they did one.
They do have one?
They did provide one,
It's
yes.
just there are items that are not complete yet. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll let the staff follow up with the loose ends on a couple of those items.
Okay, and I'll amend that motion to just approve, motion to approve.
All right, motion to approve from Commissioner Prater. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Byrd. Roll call, please.
Byrd,
Yes.
Rowdy,
Yes.
Prater,
Yes.
Lowe,
Yes.
And I think Ward joined us. Mitch, are you on? All right, you have a yay or nay on that last item?
Approve. Had some questions, but I'm late. So
All right, so a yes from you. All right, motion is approved for the site plan at 2B. All right, let's move on to the next item of business.
Lot 281R, Greystone Edition, replat, Randy Jones.
Thank you, Philip. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Kevin?
Yes, sir. So there's two parcels that are involved in this request. The address for the one that's improved is 56 Hickory Bend Drive. Essentially, this is a lot consolidation. The property owner would like to go ahead and purchase the adjacent lot 282 and actually combine them. I actually think they're in common ownership now. They just never actually combined them into one. So in your report, you'll see proposed lot 281R. Basically lot 282 would cease to exist. The line between the two would go away and you'd have one larger lot.
Pretty straightforward. I think the applicant's here with us.
I'm Randy Jones, I'm the surveyor for the applicant.
Can y'all hear Randy? Hold it.
Yes.
Discussion. Yes.
I'm Randy Jones, I'm the surveyor for the applicant. They originally bought a lot and constructed a house, and a lot to the north become available. And they decided they'd like to make their yard bigger, so they just purchased that lot at the same time. They wanted to buy them in one track.
Okay. Right. Commissioners have any questions for Randy? Or any questions for Kevin? If not, I entertain a motion to approve this lot consolidation.
Motion to approve.
Motion from Commissioner Lowe. To have a second?
I'll second it.
Second from Commissioner Prater. Roll call, please.
Byrd,
Yes.
Rowdy,
Yes.
Prater,
Yes.
Lowe,
Yes.
Ward,
yes,
All right, that replat is approved. Thank you, Randy. Appreciate it. If you wouldn't mind cleaning off the mic. Next item of business.
Lakewood subdivision, lots 71 through 99, final plat, Lemons Engineering.
All right, Kevin, if you would kick us off.
Yes, sir. So this is at the southern end of Lakewood Circle. This property is part of phase 2 for Lakewood. You'll notice in your report, there's actually it's a little confusing. There's two parts to phase 2. The one that they're submitting now is one part of phase two. The other part of phase two is actually on the north side of the lake. It's that portion that you can see in your graphic that hasn't quite been built out yet, as Lakewood Circle Corner, does the jog and veers to the west. But this portion of phase two is 14.83 acres. That's just so everybody has a scope of what this is. And within that part, you've got lots 71 through 99 as submitted. So the applicants are looking to have their final plat approved. There were some outstanding items that ought to be discussed. Laura is here tonight, and we've discussed how administratively we felt this thing should proceed. Some of your items in your report have to do with a variety of issues. One being the fact that the property has yet to be annexed in to the city yet. It is pending. We also are looking, and hopefully we can get this in some way. We're trying to get a date of approval for the prelim plat. We actually do not have that at this moment. There's also the issue that there are two lots shown on the final plat here that actually weren't on a version of the prelim that we did find by virtue of going through some of the floodplain aspects. So there are quite a number of issues, and then there's a lot of detailed issues that has to do with FEMA and platting and first floor elevations. And I can get into as much detail as the commission would like to entertain tonight. And Laura, I'll hand it over to you if you have any further discussion on this.
Laura?
Okay, as Kevin explained, this is a 4 lots that are being added to Lakewood development. There are some outstanding items that staff does have issues with that I have tried to reach out to the applicant. The applicant is Columbus, but the developer is Jim Green. I've tried to reach out to him yesterday as well as today, and have not gotten a phone call back to get some of these items addressed. The staff does not feel comfortable passing this final plat right now with these outstanding items. Jim Green did it for me last week. He was going to be in attendance. I guess he didn't make it too. So staff just feels that there are too many outstanding items that are too large that we feel comfortable enough letting this the approval with contingencies go through. So
okay.
We ask if the commission would either table the item or remove it from the agenda tonight.
Okay.
The applicant can resubmit it for next month.
Did the commissioners hear that?
Barely.
Yeah, it was broken. Yeah.
Yeah, you're supposed to be a good role model for how to speak into the microphone.
Essentially, there's too many outstanding items for staff to feel comfortable with moving ahead with approval for at least the final plat, and that's the summary.
And one of the items that I saw right away is there's only one egress and exit out of this entire subdivision, and we just keep adding on, and there's still one egress and exit out of this subdivision. There's some issue with Lakewood Drive as you're coming in off 321. You've got multiple houses that do not have another way to be serviced or fire protection or something. So I don't know if he can go ahead and connect a loop road around and tie it back into 321 or something, but I think that's one of the items that needs to be considered as staff is looking at this.
Well, many years ago, when this development started, I know there was a sketch plat submitted that showed a second egress. But here again, I don't know how long down the road that second egress onto 321 is going to happen, or if it's going to even happen. There is a comment that we made that if this development did go forward, that for the fire trucks, they need a circle drive at the end to be able to even turn the fire trucks around at the end of this. And that was one of the comments that is outstanding as well. And then there's also comments that are not in the staff report that I just found out about yesterday, that there is no sub-base, nor is there asphalt down on this street. That's part of infrastructures that should be installed prior to the final plat even being accepted.
As well as fire protection, I believe you guys have looked at that too, as far as fire hydrants, and it still needs some work in terms of fire hydrant locations. Is that right? Okay. You know, still talking about egress, ingress, the need for that secondary access.
No doubt.
So, is that everything from your report, Laura?
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to see if the applicant was online. There's nobody here representing Jim Green or Tim Lemons. Is that correct? Anybody on Zoom? Well, if not, I'd recommend that we either pull it from the agenda or table this until next month, when we may have some more information.
We can table this, and if the applicant or the developer submits more information, we can definitely bring this back up next month.
Okay.
If not, we can just keep tabling it
Got it.
until they are.
All right. I'd like to get the commission to make a recommendation to table this to next month.
Yeah, Mr. Commissioner, I do remember some years ago when we discussed this subdivision, and that this was an issue with egress, and the fire department was concerned about it at that time also. So may have to go back and look at that report and see what happened at that time. But I think it was discussed about another exit out onto 321.
Okay. Yeah, maybe we can find out more information next month. Do I have a motion to table this?
I make a motion to table it.
I second.
And a second from, was that Commissioner Mowdy? Roll call, please.
Bird,
Yes.
Howdy,
Yes.
Prater,
Yes.
Lowe,
Yes.
Ward,
Ward, I think you're on mute.
who seconded that one?
Mowdy. Commissioner Ward, that was a yes. Let's have audio troubles. We'll come back to you. If it is, send me a text. All right, let's go on to the next.
If you can hear me, I said yes.
Okay, perfect. Gotcha. Thank you. Let's go to the last item on the agenda tonight.
Lot 17R, Heritage Meadows, replat, Randy Jones.
All right, Laura, are you doing this one?
Yes.
Okay.
You do not have.
All right, speak loud. No, you don't need anything. Technical difficulties.
Can you hear me on this one?
Yes.
Okay, this is a replat for a lot out of Heritage Meadows that for the final plat that was approved last month. This is a last minute agenda item that was added. They are wanting to, when the original final plat came last month, typically your building lines follow the curve or the radius of your right of way. On these curved lots, the applicant that did the final plat did not follow the curve. I'm not sure for what reason. They did the building line straight. this lot 17R that is before you is the developer is a pre-sold lot. And they have oriented the house in a way that they need that little bit extra of that building line back that was originally not put on the plat. They want the building line to follow the contours of the right-of-way line. So that is the only reason. It has not gone through staff tech review. I've looked at this. I don't see there being any staff issues. However, the applicant is aware that I do need to send this through staff review just to make sure that there are not any issues. And the applicant is agreeable that if there are any issues, that he will address them for whatever reason those issues may be.
Okay.
And the applicant is here to
Randy.
speak on it as well.
Okay. Randy, is there anything else you want to add to that?
Yes, and first of all, thank you for the consideration. It was a kind of a last moment effort to get this done. As Laura said, the lot has a pre-sold house, and the building line was originally established to be tangent with the tangent part of the street. The buyer of the lot would like the house more radial to the street, which would be radial to the curve. So that's why they're asking for the building line to be typical, as most of them are, would be parallel with the property line, 25-foot setback. So it's a very minor setback. It meets all the side setbacks and rear setbacks. It's mostly for an appearance thing, and to make the driveway a little more radial to the curve also.
Sure. Yeah, Randy, we see these curves, outside corners, inside corners. Those are the main things we see in terms of adjustments of setback lines and eventually becoming variances. But
I think part of the consideration to make those building lines straight, it does make it maybe a little bit easier for the house placed on the lot, but it doesn't necessarily improve the appearance of the house.
right.
In this case, they have plenty of room.
Sure. Commissioners have any questions for Laura or for Randy? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
The only concern I have, Mr. Chairman, is your comment about variances, because that garage is so close to that building line. If they don't take into account brick that goes on the exterior of that building could very well, the garage could very well be over that building line. And we may run into a variance later on.
Randy, I'm assuming the 22 feet and 22.
25, the arrows on the.
Yeah, 20 feet, 6 inches is outside face of the veneer, not the.
Yes.
Right.
It will be the front building.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Commissioner Byrd. Any other questions or comments? Not, I entertain a motion to approve.
I motion to approve, Chad.
Thank you, Commissioner Ward. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Lowe. Roll call, please. Just shout it out. You're right here next to the.
Bird,
Yes.
Howdy,
Yes.
Prater,
Yes.
Lowe,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
All right. That replat is approved. So now we're going to shift into community input. And yeah, thank you, Randy. Open it up to community. If we have any comments, or I see Jay O'Neill here.
I think I said enough last night.
Okay.
I didn't realize it was you.
I'm Ronald Jones, 75 Russell Road. I've talked to y'all several times about our road.
You can't speak up as loud as you can so they can hear online.
Okay. Anyway, we came back tonight to kind of see where we're at. I know city lawyer's been working with us, and we're still having problems with traffic real bad. Had an 18-wheeler come in the other day, pulling a 45-foot van, got nearly into Jay's house to make the curve. of the turn, because he's turning on 15 foot of city street or residential street. State says they're not supposed to be in there. We're asking y'all to move that in, drive into that car lot that's not even been platted to get that traffic off of us. And we're probably going to come to y'all about putting our fence back up, because that housing addition was signed off by the county, didn't come here. And the commercial property was never platted. And they need to shut that business down. That's y'all's job. They run 7 days a week, sometimes late at night. And there's a house about 30 feet from the building. They built the building right on the utility easement for the power pole. So, and we just want to see where we're at. You know, we're supposed to have a meeting with the DA, but our land, we all know our land was taken out due process, and all of our constitutional rights have been violated. We didn't even get a notice that there's crossing our boundary lines to put the driveways in. So we're just touching base with you. We're probably going to see you next month about putting our fence back up. We had a fence there, they took it down and put their property across on our property.
So, Mr. Jones, you guys, they're not in the city, right, Mr. Hooper?
We're inside your
The planning district.
We're 2,500 feet from the city limits.
Okay. Have you met with these guys and talked with?
So, yeah, no, I've spoken with Mr. Jones many times. I've spoken with the county many times. I've looked at the Attorney General's opinions. The issue is you're in the planning jurisdiction. The planning jurisdiction does not give enforcement. The city cannot come in out there and tell that this is how to operate. You have no enforcement jurisdiction whatsoever. Now, you do have some options. The first one is what I know you've done before, and you're not going to hear, but this is completely within the jurisdiction of the county judge. You blow it up full board. And I know you've probably done that. I know you've probably visited with the county judge, but it is completely up to the county judge. Planning jurisdiction does not give them enforcement to go in there and tell them this is how to operate. They are absolutely violating the rights. They absolutely all are. But this body just can't do anything about it.
So should we contact what is it, ACLJ?
So I would do a couple of things. I would I just continually show up at one court until they'll do something about it. If they won't do anything about it, there may well be a criminal case in the county. And if they won't do anything about it, there is absolutely a civil tort going on here. Like they are absolutely violating your rights. It sounds like in probably multiple different ways. And if you get somebody to represent you, it sounds like you have a heck of a lawsuit. Now there is one other option that at least ought to put out to you. It's going to be an uphill battle, but I'll at least throw it out there. If you become part of the city, then all that changes, right? But to get annexed into the city, you've got to have 100% of everybody from the city line on down to where your property is. That's probably going to be a hard sell, right? But I did at least want to throw that out there as an option to get annexed in the city, then these people can do something about it. So that's kind of where you're at right now.
Well, I would make one anybody can probably hear me anyway. I spoke about this last night. The trucks have been coming into my yard, have almost hit my house. They've broken my water meter at least 4 times and had water leaks on it. The problem is it's a commercial business and the road is only about 14 feet wide. And they came in and put the culvert on weekend on my property when I was out of town. That is a commercial business. Technically, the culvert should be on the highway. And all they had to do was go to the highway department and put up your $500 bond, they come out and flag it, you put your culvert in, you get your bond back. They didn't do it. Now technically it's my property still. And I told them I'm gonna tear the culvert out unless something's done. So last night I made the decision to tell the city council, I'm gonna line my side of the street with about 5-foot rock to keep them off of my property. I'm tired of paying for it. I'm tired of my yard getting rutted up.
And that's also a crime, right? Like they destroyed your property. That's,
oh yeah, many times.
Like,
I've had them in my
that's a
property.
crime. And if, I don't know what your conversations with the sheriff have been at all, but if you got an issue with that, you can file your charges yourself in no district court. That's absolutely, destruction of personal property is absolutely wrong. So I mean, and I can talk to you about the affidavit process, but you can go in there and do that yourself, like with or without sheriff office cooperation. And I encourage you to do that. Go to district court, you can file an affidavit, that's absolutely wrong. Yeah.
We've been before court, and they told us that, we have no business there, the judge will take care of it on his own. But, he ain't gonna do nothing.
He's already voted in for a year anyway. In fact, he's been extremely rude with us. I don't have much respect for a man like that anyway. You're supposed to be working with the public if you're a judge, just like y'all do. You should be able to listen to our complaint and at least try to work with us to correct this problem. Nobody's done a damn thing. So I'm taking it upon myself to block my property.
I won't put my fence back up. They took my fence off my property and come across without due process, no notice, no nothing. So if we have to get a permit for a fence up, we need to come back here and get a permit, put our fence back up from 89 all the way to Blue Road.
And I can tell you that this body absolutely cannot stop you from putting your fence up.
That's right.
Like, you can absolutely put your fence up. If they literally can't tell you no.
That's right.
They have no jurisdiction to tell you, you can't put your fence up.
So we can put our fence back up.
That's what I was told too.
Yeah.
We wanted to let the city know what's
Yes, sir.
going on.
Yes, sir.
Our biggest complaint is that they would just move the culvert to 89. Because right now, back years ago, I used to haul the gravel for the county on that road. And it was a double lane road back then, all the way back to maybe a loop back to Jefferson. And now, that's all overgrown and
What are y'all gonna do when, like the other day, the school bus stopped in front of me and people waiting on a kid blocked the whole road on Russell to get off? And it's just a matter of time, that's gonna be a pretty bad wreck.
Sure.
And whose fault's that gonna be?
It's gonna be there because they're blocking the road.
See, that is supposed to be a 30-foot wide road, it's 15 feet at the wide spots.
I mean, and that's the county judge, but like you said, he's not gonna, I mean,
No, because he's paved every road around and left us all messed up.
you absolutely have violations of your rights. This body can't really help you out. I would, one, if you haven't talked to the sheriff, because what you just described is wrong. Like, that's destruction of property, that's, in the criminal world, that's what we call criminal mission.
Well,
That's absolutely wrong. And if they would kind of like to help you out, go to the district court yourself, there, no, and file charges. And if not, I really recommend that you see if you can talk to a private lawyer who can represent you, because you are getting your rights violated, and he or she can help us out.
There's nobody in the state over a county judge. I've been all the way to the lieutenant governor. They can't touch it. So we have the ACLJ to contact. And we come here one more time, they're out of DC, and they'll have to file a federal lawsuit.
But yeah, no, I absolutely push you that avenue. But as far as your fence goes, if it's on your property, it's that property county, you can put a fence. This body absolutely cannot tell you no as far as that.
Well, aren't y'all overall planning?
For the city. There's a planning jurisdiction, but that's for new developments outside the,
Well, this was a new development, and they bypassed every one of them.
yeah, we don't have any control over it right now. I mean, it's like Mr. Hooper said, that the best bet is probably to talk to an attorney and see what you guys do. We can't do anything about it.
So, ACLJ.
What's that? What is ACLJ?
It's, American
Civil liberties.
Civil liberties and justice. They're out, they take on, they take on 100% constitutional, lawsuits. Since they violated all of our constitutional rights on this, they fight it all the way to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So
I wish there was something we could do, Mr. Jones, Mr. O'Neill. I mean, there's nothing that we can do. I mean, I think Mr. Hooper's advice is the best.
These are the answers to the question. I can put my rock for a lot, and he can put his fence where he wants. The only other question was getting the cover off my property.
they have,
I can do that purposely because that's my property. They didn't know the weekend. I can go on the weekend and tear it out, build a ton here. And I will do it. So
they have a right of way on that side property, it's never was developed. It's deeded to the people, so if we fence it off, they still got their own right of way.
Yeah, I would follow legal counsel's advice is what I would do.
I've been doing
I'd
this
talk,
for 2 years and haven't done that thing yet, so we're just gonna take it in our own hands. Now, he said that we can, we wanna make sure that everyone's know where we are going to.
I think I talked to the sheriff too, put him on notice too. There's stuff going on. All right, thank you guys. Our commissioners, anybody else on Zoom have any community input? Seeing none, I'd recommend a motion to adjourn our meeting.
Make a motion to adjourn.
You have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate your time tonight. See you guys next month. Thank you all. Appreciate y'all coming out.
Thank you.